The mind is the workshop of your destiny. Whatever you allow to take root in thought, you will see bloom in the garden of your life. If you desire more money, more opportunity, more freedom, begin not with the world around you, but with the world within you. Money is not your master, it is your servant, your obedient messenger. When you believe yourself aligned with abundance, it will come to you in right ways, through channels seen and unseen, expected and unexpected. The law is simple: what you deeply expect, you will attract. Many people think of money with fear, with doubt, or with resentment. They say, "It is scarce, it is hard to come by, it slips through my fingers." And so the mind, trained in lack, creates lack. But the mind trained in plenty, creates plenty. Train your brain to think wealth, not want. Say to yourself each morning, "Infinite supply flows to me now. Every step I take is ordered. Every action I take prospers." When these words are spoken with conviction, the invisible power within you rises to match them, and the outer world begins to reflect them. Do not chase money, invite it. Stand tall in the truth that you are already rich in the unseen, and what is invisible will soon take form. The brain is a magnet, and your thoughts are its current. Turn the current toward gratitude, confidence, and expectancy, and riches will be drawn to you. Remember, poverty is only a shadow cast by fear. Abundance is the light of faith. When you keep your inner vision clear, the channels of supply open wide, and money comes, not in trickles, but in streams. So today, train your brain to be your greatest ally. Think on success until success cannot help but answer. Think on prosperity until prosperity walks in your door. The law never fails: as within, so without. And as you master this, you will not only make more money, you will make a richer life in every sense of the word. The mind is the workshop of your destiny. Everything that you see around you, every condition you live through, every opportunity or obstacle that appears in your path, has first taken shape in the unseen realm of thought. The life you are living today is nothing more and nothing less than the harvest of the seeds you have sown in mind. Just as the farmer cannot expect to reap corn if he has planted thistles, so you cannot expect to reap prosperity if your mind has been filled with fear, worry, and limitation. The invisible blueprint always precedes the visible structure, and your brain is the great architect, continually drafting the plans for your tomorrows. When we say the mind is a workshop, we mean that it is not idle. It is at work day and night, shaping images, forming conclusions, creating expectations. Most people allow this workshop to run without guidance, turning out whatever chance impressions or outside influences dictate. They fill the mind with news of lack, with stories of hardship, with gossip of failure. Then they wonder why their lives mirror confusion and want. But the wise one learns to step into the workshop with authority and direct its labor. Just as a master craftsman selects his tools carefully and chooses his materials with intention, so you must select the thoughts you allow and the beliefs you cherish. Every thought carries a vibration, and these vibrations are seeds cast into the soil of the universe. The law is impartial. It brings forth what is planted without judgment. Plant doubt, and the harvest will be small. Plant resentment, and the harvest will be bitter. Plant faith, gratitude, and expectancy, and the harvest will be abundance, joy, and opportunity. The soil of life does not discriminate, it only multiplies. That is why it is so important to guard the thoughts you dwell upon. Your mind cannot afford the luxury of entertaining fear or failure, for these too will be returned to you with interest. If you desire more money, begin by recognizing that money itself is but a symbol, a form through which supply flows. Money is not the source, it is a channel. The true source is infinite and inexhaustible, always ready to provide new channels when old ones close. To focus on the symbol alone is to miss the fountain from which it springs. But when you understand that supply is everywhere present, you free yourself from fear. You no longer cling to one job, one client, one business deal as if it were your only hope. You realize that opportunities are as plentiful as the thoughts you dare to think, and that money flows to the one whose inner workshop is busy with plans of prosperity. The brain is a magnet. What you habitually think about, you draw to yourself. People say, "I must work harder, I must strain more, I must push against obstacles." Yet they often discover that effort alone does not bring wealth. Why? Because the mind behind the effort is filled with doubt. Hard work with a consciousness of lack brings only exhaustion. But clear thought, steeped in confidence, can draw results with ease. Have you not seen how one person struggles for years to get ahead and barely manages, while another, with seeming effortlessness, attracts opportunities and support? The difference is not in luck. It is in the mental workshop. One has trained the brain to expect good, the other has trained it, often without knowing, to expect difficulty. It is not enough to casually wish for more money. Wishes are like stray sparks that quickly fade. What is needed is deep conviction, spoken word, and persistent vision. Begin your day by declaring aloud, "The mind is my workshop, and today I build prosperity. Infinite supply flows to me now. I welcome money in right and perfect ways. I expect success, and success expects me." These affirmations are not empty phrases. They are commands given to the workshop of your destiny. With each repetition, the brain is trained to focus on abundance, and the law of life responds. But let us be clear. Money itself is never the ultimate goal. Money is a tool, a servant, a messenger. It carries energy, and like all energy, it must flow. To hoard it in fear is to choke its current. To use it with joy, with confidence, with purpose, is to keep the channels wide open. Train your brain not only to attract money but to circulate it wisely. Know that every dollar you spend returns to you multiplied. For money spent with faith and joy enriches both giver and receiver. Say to yourself, "This money I release blesses and prospers all it touches, and it returns to me enriched and multiplied." Some may say, "But I cannot think wealth when my bills are due, when I have no money in my pocket, when lack stares me in the face." That is precisely when you must. For it is in those moments that the workshop is most active. If you surrender to appearances, your mind will continue to produce replicas of those appearances. If you rise above appearances and hold to the unseen truth of supply, your mind will begin to shape new conditions. The unseen is always stronger than the seen, for it is the cause behind the effect. Remember, the present moment is not a verdict but a reflection of past thought. Change the thought now, and the reflection must eventually change. Fear is the great thief of abundance. Fear paralyzes the creative power of the mind. When fear whispers, "What if you fail? What if you lose? What if there is not enough?" you must answer with faith, "I cannot fail, for success is the law. I cannot lose, for supply is endless. There is always enough, for the universe is abundant." By speaking these truths, you silence the voice of fear and strengthen the workshop of your mind. You may wonder how opportunity will come, by what channels money will appear. That is not your concern. The how belongs to the infinite. Your task is to hold the vision, to speak the word, to act in confidence. Opportunities often appear in ways you least expect. A casual conversation leads to a profitable connection. A new idea springs to mind and grows into a thriving business. A seeming setback opens the door to something greater. The mind trained in expectancy recognizes these channels and seizes them, while the mind trained in doubt overlooks them entirely. Gratitude is the golden key in this process. Gratitude unlocks the workshop of the mind to its highest creative power. When you are grateful for what you have, however small it may seem, you affirm the presence of supply. Gratitude says, "I already live in abundance." And because the law of life is to multiply what is acknowledged, more is added. Begin and end each day with gratitude. Give thanks not only for what is visible but for what is forming in the unseen. Say, "I thank the universe for the riches that are mine, both those I see and those now on their way." In gratitude, you align yourself with the flow of prosperity. There is also power in imagination. Imagination is the architect within the workshop of your brain. Dare to imagine yourself already living the life you desire. See yourself paying your bills with ease, investing with wisdom, giving generously, enjoying the freedom money brings. Feel the joy of it as if it were already true. This is not idle fantasy, it is mental creation. What you vividly imagine and consistently believe must take form, for the law of mind cannot be broken. Action too has its place. The mind provides the plan, but the hands must carry it out. Yet action taken in fear is stumbling, while action taken in faith is guided and successful. Train your brain to expect right action. Say, "Every step I take is ordered, every move I make prospers." Then move forward boldly. The workshop of your mind will direct you to the right contacts, the right timing, the right opportunities. Remember that the mind is never neutral. It is always building something. If you do not consciously train it toward prosperity, it will unconsciously build poverty. If you do not command it to shape abundance, it will drift into shaping lack. Therefore be vigilant. Watch your words, for they are the orders given to your workshop. Watch your thoughts, for they are the blueprints of your future. Watch your feelings, for they are the fuel that energizes thought. Even in times of uncertainty, hold fast to this truth. The mind is the workshop of your destiny, and you are its master builder. Nothing can prevent your prosperity except the belief that you cannot have it. Break that belief and all doors open. Align your thoughts with supply, and money must come. Align your words with abundance, and opportunities must appear. Align your feelings with joy, and success must follow. So train your brain daily. Speak words of prosperity. Think thoughts of plenty. Feel the joy of success as though it were already yours. Do this faithfully, and you will discover that money is drawn to you, as surely as iron is drawn to a magnet. And with that money will come not only freedom and security, but also the opportunity to enrich others, to bless the world with your abundance. For the ultimate destiny of the prosperous mind is not merely to make more money, but to live richly in every sense. To experience the joy of giving, the satisfaction of fulfilling your purpose, and the peace of knowing that you are in harmony with the law of life. The workshop is open every moment of every day. What will you build today? Will you build fear or faith, lack or abundance, struggle or ease? The choice is always yours. Choose wisely, for the structures you design in mind will soon rise around you in fact. And remember, the mind is the workshop of your destiny, and your destiny is greatness, prosperity, and joy. Money was never meant to be a tyrant over your life. It was never meant to control your joy, your peace, or your sense of security. Money is a tool, a servant, an obedient messenger that carries out the instructions you give it through your thoughts, beliefs, and words. Yet so many people have reversed this truth. They bow to money as though it were the master, believing they cannot move, cannot dream, cannot live fully until they have enough of it. In this reversal, the soul becomes bound, and fear takes the place of faith. But when you awaken to the truth, you discover that money has no will of its own. It has no power except what you give it. It is shaped, commanded, and directed by the state of your mind. If your thoughts are filled with lack, money seems scarce. If your thoughts are filled with faith, money appears in plenty. In this way, you see that money is only the mirror of your consciousness. It follows, it does not lead. Consider the person who is enslaved by money. They rise in the morning anxious about bills, worrying over expenses, calculating every move in fear that there is not enough. Their thoughts are not creative but constricted. They cannot hear inspiration. They cannot see opportunity, because their mind is clouded with the belief that money is the source of life. Yet money is not the source. Life is the source. The infinite is the source. Your ideas, your gifts, your divine right to prosper. These are the true origins of wealth. Money is simply the channel through which supply flows, not the fountain itself. When you understand this, a great freedom comes. You no longer see money as a gatekeeper that must be appeased before you can take a step forward. You see it instead as a loyal servant that is summoned when needed, a faithful helper that comes in the right measure, at the right time, in the right way. You are not waiting for money to bless you. You are blessing money with the imprint of your expectation. You give it direction, and it responds. This shift in relationship is everything. A servant does not dictate the life of the master. A servant follows the master's instructions. When you remember your true place as master over your own affairs, you command money with calm authority. You do not plead with it. You do not fear it. You do not resent it. You simply affirm its obedience to the higher law of supply. You say, money flows freely to me for the good of all concerned. And so it does. Think of money as you would think of fire. Fire is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. In the fireplace, it warms the home. In the oven, it cooks the meal. But uncontrolled, it can consume everything in its path. So too with money. When it is kept in its rightful place, as the servant of your higher vision, it works for you with harmony and ease. When it is mistaken for the master of your life, it burns with fear, greed, and anxiety. The fire of money is meant to be tended, directed, and used wisely. To train your brain for this truth, begin with new thoughts. Each time you feel anxious about money, pause and remind yourself, money is my servant. It comes when I call. It obeys my expectation. This affirmation shifts your inner posture from fear to authority. Soon the subconscious accepts this as fact, and you notice that opportunities appear where once you saw only obstacles. Money begins to flow because you have claimed your rightful place as master of it, not servant to it. The world is full of stories of people who had little money yet lived with a sense of freedom, and those who had great wealth yet lived enslaved. Why is this so? Because mastery is not about the number in the bank account, but about the relationship in the mind. The one who feels free within, free from fear, free from dependence, is the one who truly rules money. And the one who fears loss, who clings, who worships the symbol instead of the source, is ruled by money even if they have mountains of it. When you choose freedom, you begin to use money with joy. You send it out with a blessing, knowing it will return multiplied. You do not cling in fear to every dollar, believing it to be your last. You recognize that the source of your wealth is infinite, and that money is only one of the many channels through which that infinite supply reaches you. This recognition is liberating. It allows you to spend with confidence, to give with generosity, to receive with gratitude. See money as a messenger. Imagine it carrying your intentions into the world. When you pay for something, do not think, oh, my money is leaving me. Instead, think, this money goes out to prepare the way for greater good to return. When you give, do not think, I am losing what I have. Think, I am sowing a seed in the soil of abundance, and this seed will return to me in harvest. Money as a servant must obey the command of your expectation. The brain, when trained in this truth, no longer feels burdened by the thought of money. It becomes creative, alert, open to new ideas. Fear shuts down the higher faculties of the mind, but faith awakens them. When you know that money is only your servant, you can think beyond money. You can focus on vision, on service, on purpose. You are no longer bound to the thought, how will I get the money? Instead, you ask, what is the highest path before me? What good can I bring? What ideas are waiting to be expressed? And as you act on those higher thoughts, money follows. There is a subtle but powerful difference between working for money and allowing money to work for you. When you work for money, you see it as master. You trade your time, your energy, your very spirit for its approval. But when money works for you, you place your energy in creative thought, in right action, in aligning with opportunity, and money simply appears as the result. One way drains the soul, the other way lifts it. This is not to say you should not labor or act. But let your labor be filled with joy, not drudgery. Let your action be inspired, not desperate. The servant does not demand you toil in fear. The servant waits for your command. Give it direction with clarity of thought and firmness of faith, and it will do its part. People often say, "I will do this when I have enough money." But that is placing the servant in the seat of the master. Money is not the gatekeeper of your dreams. Your faith is, your vision is, your courage is. Begin to act as though supply is already present, and money will find the channels to support you. If you wait on money, you are giving it authority it does not have. But if you move in faith, money hurries to catch up with you. Think of money as a river. It is meant to flow. It comes in and goes out. It circulates. It carries life to where it is needed. When you hold it in fear, you dam the river, and the waters stagnate. But when you release it with trust, the current strengthens, and new streams rush in. The servant of money works best when it is allowed to circulate freely. Each time you receive money, bless it. Each time you release money, bless it. In this way, you remind your mind that you are the master, directing the servant with love, not fear. Gratitude magnetizes the flow and expectation multiplies it. The servant grows faithful under a kind and confident master. Never speak of money with dread. Do not say, "I can't afford this." For such words are commands to the servant to stay away. Instead say, "The money for this comes easily to me at the right time." Do not say, "Money is hard to get." For that enslaves your thought. Instead say, "Money flows to me in rivers of abundance." Each word is a command. Each thought is a directive. The servant of money has no choice but to obey the instructions you give it. The more you meditate on this truth, the lighter your heart becomes. You begin to laugh at the fears that once chained you. You see that you are never at the mercy of the servant. You are guided by a higher law, a law of endless supply, a law of faith. This law places you in mastery over your own affairs. And in that mastery, money bows to serve you faithfully. Life becomes richer when money is put in its proper place. You walk with confidence. You choose with clarity. You no longer shrink from opportunities because of the question of money. You move forward, and money follows your movement. You act, and money obeys. You bless, and money multiplies. So train your brain each day to remember this: money is not the master of your destiny. It is not the gatekeeper of your dreams. It is not the ruler of your peace. It is a servant, and a willing one, eager to follow your faith-filled commands. Speak to it as a friend. Direct it as a helper. Use it as a tool, but never bow to it as a master. The one who knows this truth is already rich, for they have placed themselves in harmony with the law of abundance. And riches in form will surely come, not because they chase money, but because money, as a servant, hastens to answer the call of one who knows their authority. Scarcity begins in thought. It is not first an empty purse, nor a dwindling bank account, nor a door that seems close to opportunity. Those are only the shadows, the outpicturing of an inward belief. Every condition you see with your eyes has its roots in the invisible soil of the mind. When the soil is seeded with fear, with doubt, with the belief that there is never enough, the harvest will be lack. But when the soil is filled with confidence, gratitude, and the expectation of plenty, the harvest will be abundance, and it will come in ways you could never have reasoned out. The world has taught many to believe in limitation. From the time we are children, we hear phrases such as, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or, "You have to work hard for every penny," or, "We can't afford that." These phrases are not simply words, they are seeds sown in the tender ground of consciousness, and unless they are uprooted and replaced, they continue to bear fruit in adulthood. Fruit that tastes of worry, struggle, and just enough to get by. Yet life was never meant to be a struggle for crumbs. Life is rich, opulent, overflowing. Look at the ocean, and you will see that nature knows no lack. Wave after wave rolls in, without end. Look at the stars in the night sky, and you will see uncountable abundance shining down. The Creator did not fashion a stingy universe. The only place where scarcity seems to exist is in the human mind. Scarcity begins in thought. And because thought is creative, the belief in scarcity brings forth experiences to prove itself. A person who constantly fears not having enough will spend their days guarding, grasping, and rationing. They will find themselves missing opportunities, hesitating to invest in their growth, and shrinking back from doors that would lead to prosperity. They do not realize that their fear is not protection. It is a magnet for the very lack they dread. For what you focus upon expands. The more you dwell on shortage, the more shortage appears. But here is the liberating truth: if scarcity begins in thought, so does abundance. The same mind that can imagine poverty can imagine plenty. The same brain that has been trained to expect difficulty can be retrained to expect ease. The shift begins within, with a decision to no longer agree with the false story of lack. You are not here to scrape by. You are here to live richly, to express the infinite supply that flows through all creation. Consider for a moment the air you breathe. Do you ever worry that there is not enough oxygen for you? Do you ever compete with others for your next breath? No, you breathe freely, deeply, without thought of shortage. That is how money, opportunity, and resources are meant to flow in your life freely, easily, and without fear. The difference lies in belief. Most people believe in the infinite supply of air, but they doubt the infinite supply of wealth. Yet both are drawn from the same source. Both are provided without limit. When you train your brain to release the thought of scarcity, new channels of supply open to you. You begin to see opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. You take steps boldly, without hesitation, because you expect a favorable outcome. You speak words of confidence instead of complaint. And as these inner changes take root, the outer world responds. The law cannot fail as within, so without. Scarcity begins in thought, but so does prosperity. It is not the hours you work, nor the economy, nor the actions of others that determine your supply. It is your consciousness. For one person, a job loss is devastation. For another, it is the doorway to a greater career. For one, a market downturn is disaster. For another, it is opportunity to invest at the right moment. The same condition, but two minds, two outcomes. Why? Because one entertains thoughts of fear, while the other entertains thoughts of faith. To train the brain for prosperity, you must first catch the whispers of lack when they appear. These whispers may say, I can't afford that, or, money is tight, or, I'll never get ahead. Do not agree with them. Replace them with words of truth. I live in an abundant universe. Infinite supply is flowing to me now. I am always taken care of. Speak these words often, until they sink into the subconscious, for it is the subconscious that quietly directs your steps. Many will ask, but how can words change my finances? The answer is that words are thought made audible, and thought is the seed of every condition. Just as a tiny acorn becomes a mighty oak, so a thought of wealth, faithfully nurtured, becomes wealth in form. The outer is only a reflection of the inner. If you wish to change the outer, begin within. Scarcity is a shadow, but abundance is light. When you turn your attention to abundance, the shadow dissolves. This is why gratitude is such a powerful practice. When you give thanks for what you have, even if it seems little, you align yourself with the frequency of plenty. Gratitude says, I see the good, I acknowledge the supply already present, and the law of increase responds by bringing more. What you appreciate appreciates. Imagine two farmers. One looks at his small bag of seeds and says, this is not enough. I will hold on to it, for fear of losing it. The other looks at the same bag of seeds and says, this is plenty. I will sow it joyfully, trusting the earth to return it multiplied. Which farmer will reap the greater harvest? The second, of course. And so it is with money, with talent, with opportunity. If you clutch in fear, your supply stays small. If you release in faith, your supply multiplies. Scarcity begins in thought, but so does generosity. And generosity opens the gates of prosperity wide. The fearful mind says, if I give, I will have less. The prosperous mind says, if I give, I prove that I am rich, and more will flow to me. Life responds according to the expectation behind the act. When you give from fear, you feel drained. When you give from joy, you feel replenished. That inner state determines whether the channels of supply are blocked or open. Do not mistake this for mere positive thinking. It is not about pretending problems do not exist, nor ignoring practical steps. It is about aligning your deepest thought with truth that you are part of an infinite supply, and you can never be separated from it. Scarcity is an illusion created by fear. Abundance is reality revealed by faith. You may say, but I have bills due now. How can I think abundance when the pressure feels real? The answer is this: do not let present appearances dictate your inner state. Instead, claim abundance as your truth now, in the face of every contrary condition. Say, this bill is already paid in divine order. My supply is secure. Unexpected income is on its way to me. Speak it, believe it, and act with confidence, and soon the outer world will conform. Countless people have experienced sudden opportunities, gifts, raises, and solutions the moment they shifted their thought from lack to plenty. Scarcity begins in thought, and so does freedom. When your brain is trained to believe in sufficiency, you walk differently, you speak differently, you expect differently. You are no longer bound by the world's appearances, for you know a higher law governs your life. That law is the law of supply, the law of abundance, the law that never fails. Every time you choose faith over fear, gratitude over complaint, expectancy over doubt, you are retraining your brain. Each choice carves a new pathway of thought. And the more you walk that path, the easier it becomes, until abundance is no longer something you strive for. It is the natural rhythm of your being. Think it not strange if at first the old thoughts return. Scarcity has been rehearsed for years in many minds. But with persistence, the new thought will take root. Do not grow weary. Each time a thought of lack arises, replace it with a thought of plenty. Each time you are tempted to complain, give thanks instead. Each time you are tempted to fear, affirm your faith. These small acts, repeated daily, will transform your consciousness. And when your consciousness is transformed, your finances, your opportunities, your relationships, your entire life will reflect that transformation. For life is a mirror, and it always shows you what you secretly believe. If you wish to see abundance in the mirror, you must first hold abundance in thought. Scarcity begins in thought, but so does the song of prosperity that can play through your life. Train your brain to hear that song. Let it be the background music of your days. And as you do, you will discover that abundance was never far from you. It was waiting, always, within your own mind. So let this truth settle deep within you. You are not poor, you are not deprived, you are not lacking, you are rich beyond measure, for the same creative mind that brought forth galaxies and oceans lives in you. Scarcity is only a shadow cast by forgetting who you are. Remember, and the shadow disappears. Begin today. Choose thoughts of plenty. Speak words of supply. Act with the confidence of one who knows the universe is friendly and full. And you will see in time that the outer world cannot resist but reflect the abundance you have claimed within. Scarcity begins in thought, but so does prosperity, freedom, and a life overflowing with every good thing. Affirm abundance daily, for every day is a fresh page in the book of your destiny, and every thought, every word, every belief you hold writes a line upon that page. If you desire prosperity, you must speak prosperity. If you desire increase, you must declare increase. The spoken word is not mere sound, it is creative power. It is the invisible brushstroke that paints the reality you step into. Many live their days unconsciously affirming lack. They wake in the morning and their first thought is, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough energy, I don't have enough money. They walk through their hours repeating silent mantras of limitation. This is too expensive. I can't afford that. Nothing ever works out for me. There's never enough. These words may seem harmless, but they are seeds, and every seed bears fruit. If the soil of the mind is watered with fear and doubt, the harvest will be one of struggle. But you can choose a different harvest. You can train your brain to expect supply, to see plenty, to know that the universe is inexhaustible in its giving. You can make your tongue an instrument of wealth instead of a channel of worry. When you rise in the morning, you can meet the day with affirmations of abundance. Divine supply flows to me freely and easily. Every door I knock upon swings open. Every step I take leads me to prosperity. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. I am rich in opportunities, rich in ideas, rich in blessings. These affirmations are not empty wishes, they are commands sent forth into the unseen. Affirmations shape the mind, and the mind shapes the world. When you affirm abundance, you are reprogramming the subconscious to recognize possibilities it once ignored. You are tuning your inner ear to hear opportunity knocking. You are directing the magnet of your thought to draw to you what matches your new vibration. Just as a radio must be tuned to a certain frequency to pick up a broadcast, your mind must be tuned to wealth in order to pick up the signals of wealth. Affirmations are the tuning dial. Consistency is the key. Saying an affirmation once is like planting a single seed and forgetting to water it. The daily practice is what nourishes the seed and brings forth the tree. Each day you affirm, I am surrounded by abundance. I am guided into prosperity. I live in a universe of infinite supply. You are watering the garden of your destiny. Soon the flowers of opportunity begin to bloom, the fruits of increase begin to ripen, and what was once unseen becomes tangible. Some may say, but I cannot affirm what is not yet real. How can I say I am prosperous when my bank account says otherwise? The answer is simple: you affirm not what you see, but what you choose to see. You affirm not the evidence of the senses, but the truth of the spirit. The unseen always precedes the seen. A house is first conceived in the mind of the architect before it ever stands upon the ground. A song is first imagined before it is ever sung. Likewise, prosperity is first affirmed in the invisible before it is ever counted in dollars. When you affirm abundance daily, you are not lying to yourself, you are aligning yourself with truth. The truth is that the universe is abundant. The truth is that there is no shortage of money, no limit to opportunity, no ceiling on creativity. The truth is that wealth is a flow, and when you align your mind with the flow, you step into its current. Lack is the illusion, abundance is the reality. Your affirmation is your declaration of allegiance to reality. Consider how the mind works. If you tell yourself daily that you are unlucky, soon you will notice only misfortune. Your brain filters experience to confirm your belief. But if you tell yourself daily that you are blessed, guided, and favored, the same brain will begin to notice doors that others overlook, ideas that others ignore, solutions where others see only problems. Affirmation is the training of perception, and perception becomes experience. There is a story of a farmer who had two fields side by side. In one, he planted wheat. In the other, he planted nothing. But nature does not leave a field bare. Where no seeds were planted, weeds sprang up, choking the earth. So it is with the mind. If you do not plant affirmations of abundance, the weeds of doubt, fear, and and limitation will grow of their own accord. Your daily affirmation is your planting, your intentional sowing of wealth consciousness. It is not enough to say the words mechanically. The power lies in speaking them with feeling, with faith, with expectancy. When you declare, "I am prosperous," feel the truth of it as though it were already so. Let your heart rise with gratitude as though the blessing had already arrived. Gratitude is the soil in which abundance grows best. Each time you affirm, give thanks in advance, and your thanks will draw the good closer. Some may dismiss this practice as too simple. But simplicity is the mark of truth. Great rivers begin with a single drop of water. Great fortunes begin with a single idea spoken with conviction. Words have built empires and toppled them. Words have healed bodies and broken them. Words have called forth nations into being. Shall words not also call forth prosperity into your life? Affirm abundance daily, not only with your lips, but with your actions. Speak wealth and walk wealth. Speak generosity and act generously. Speak increase and move with the confidence of one who knows that increase is already his. Let every gesture, every choice, every step be in harmony with your affirmations. When words and actions agree, nothing can resist the flow of good that follows. You may find resistance in the beginning. The old thoughts of lack may rise up and whisper, "This is foolish. You are only pretending. Nothing is changing." Recognize these whispers for what they are: remnants of the old pattern, the weeds trying to reclaim the field. Do not give them power. Continue affirming, continue declaring. The new pattern will grow stronger, and the old one will wither away. There is a sacred rhythm to the universe, a law that says, "As you sow, so shall you reap." Affirmations are the sowing. The reaping is inevitable. It may not come in the form you expect, nor in the timing you demand, but it will come. Opportunities will present themselves, ideas will surface. People will cross your path, doors will open, and when they do, act boldly, for your affirmation has prepared the way. Affirm abundance daily, not only for yourself but for others. Speak increase over your family, your friends, your community. Declare, prosperity surrounds us all. Wealth flows to every willing heart. Opportunities are multiplying in every direction. As you affirm abundance for others, you step into the greater law of circulation. The good you wish for others cannot help but return to you multiplied. Remember, the universe is listening always. Every thought is a prayer, every word is a decree, every belief is a seed. Train your brain to pray in plenty, to decree in wealth, to plant in abundance. Do this not once in a while, not only when you feel like it, but daily, faithfully, persistently. Make it as natural as breathing. One day you will look back and see how the words you spoke shaped the life you live. You will see that every affirmation was a brick in the foundation of your prosperity. You will marvel at how far you have come, how much has unfolded, how richly life has responded to your declarations. And you will know beyond all doubt that affirming abundance daily is not a ritual of wishful thinking, but the very law of creation at work. So today, let your lips be fountains of increase. Let your thoughts be streams of wealth. Let your heart overflow with gratitude for blessings seen and unseen. Say to yourself each morning and each night, "I am abundant. I am prosperous. I am guided into success. I am aligned with infinite supply." Say it until it is not only your affirmation but your identity, your truth, your reality. Affirm abundance daily, and watch as your life becomes a mirror of the words you have spoken. For the universe cannot deny a mind trained in wealth, nor withhold from a heart anchored in faith. The law is sure, the promise is true: as you affirm, so shall it be. So many people live their lives in a constant chase. They chase after success, after recognition, after money, believing that if only they run fast enough, strive hard enough, grasp tight enough, then surely what they seek will be theirs. Yet the very act of chasing keeps the thing pursued forever just out of reach. Chasing is born from the belief that something is missing, that what you need is outside of you, separate from you, reluctant to come your way unless you labor and struggle for it. And when money is approached in this way, it behaves exactly as you imagine. Distant, elusive, always running ahead of you, never quite staying long enough in your hands to give you peace. But there is another way. The way of alignment, the way of attraction, the way of invitation. When you invite money, you call it not from desperation, but from a calm assurance that it belongs with you, that it has a rightful place in your life, that it is natural for it to flow toward you. To invite is not to beg. It is not to plead. It is to prepare a place, to open the door, to make welcome. Imagine a guest arriving at your home. If you run wildly down the street chasing them, pulling at their sleeve, insisting that they come, they will resist, confused by your frenzy. But if you stand at your door with a smile, the lights on, the table set, warmth and hospitality waiting, your guest will enter gladly, knowing they are wanted. Money responds to the same law. When you chase it with worry, with fear, with grasping, it eludes you. But when you invite it with faith, with gratitude, with readiness, it comes, and it comes gladly. To invite money is to cultivate an inner atmosphere where prosperity feels at home. That atmosphere is made of trust, expectancy, and joy. When you think of money, do you think of strain, bills, debt, lack, or do you think of freedom, generosity, ease? Your habitual thought is the atmosphere you create, and money will either avoid or approach you depending on the welcome it feels. Consider the difference between chasing and inviting. Chasing is restless, inviting is calm. Chasing is fueled by doubt, inviting is fueled by certainty. Chasing believes in separation, inviting believes in union. To invite money is to know that you and prosperity are not strangers but companions, meant to walk together. When you invite money, you are not asking for something outside yourself. You are calling forth what already exists in the unseen, what is already yours by divine right. The supply is already present, waiting for you to prepare a place for it to appear. Think of a garden. If you chase the harvest, pulling at the fruit before it is ripe, running about the field in impatience, you will bruise the fruit and spoil the soil. But if you tend the garden, if you water, nurture, and trust the process, the harvest comes to you in abundance. You do not chase it, you invite it through the care you have given. Money works the same way. You cultivate thoughts of prosperity, sow seeds of gratitude, water them with affirmations, and trust the unseen law of growth. In time, the harvest of money and opportunity comes into your hands, and it comes with ease. Chasing says, I do not have. Inviting says, it is already mine. Chasing is fear disguised as ambition. Inviting is faith expressed as calm assurance. The one who chases is never satisfied, for even when money arrives, the chase continues, and the restless spirit finds another thing to pursue. The one who invites, however, knows peace, because they trust that what belongs to them will arrive at the right time, through the right channels, in the right way. And so they enjoy what they have, even as more comes to them. When you train your brain to invite money, you begin by shifting the way you think of it. Do you see money as scarce, as something you must run after? Or do you see it as abundant, flowing and willing? The universe is rich beyond measure. Look around every tree, every blade of grass, every drop of water speaks of supply without end. There is no lack in truth. The only lack is the belief in lack, and belief shapes experience. So to invite money, change the belief from scarcity to sufficiency, from insufficiency to overflow. Tell yourself daily, I am aligned with abundance. Money flows to me naturally and joyfully. I invite prosperity into every area of my life. These words, spoken often and with feeling, begin to form a new pattern in the brain, a pattern that welcomes money instead of fearing it. Think also of your emotions toward money. Do you greet it with guilt? Do you push it away with suspicion? Some people receive money but secretly believe they do not deserve it, and so they repel it without knowing. Others hold resentment toward those who have it, not realizing that resentment builds an invisible wall between themselves and the very thing they want. To invite money, your heart must be open to it. You must see it as good, as useful, as a friend. When you love money rightly, not with greed, but with gratitude, you make a home for it. It feels safe to stay with you, to multiply in your hands, to flow out and return again in greater measure. Inviting money does not mean idleness. It does not mean waiting passively while opportunities pass you by. Invitation is active, but not frantic. It is preparing yourself, preparing your work, preparing your spirit, so that when money knocks, it finds you ready. The student who studies diligently is inviting success. The artist who practices daily is inviting inspiration. The entrepreneur who serves with excellence is inviting customers. In the same way, your preparation is the invitation that calls money into your life. You do not chase clients, you prepare such value that clients come to you. You do not chase wealth, you prepare your mind, your skills, your spirit, so that wealth flows naturally in your direction. When you invite, you act as if the thing invited is certain to arrive. You set the table, light the candles, open the door. To do less would be to doubt. Likewise, if you say you desire money, but you never prepare for its arrival, what message are you sending? Begin now to act like one who is prosperous. Put your house in order. Plan for increase. Speak as one who expects good. The universe responds to expectancy. When you are certain of increase, increase cannot help but find you. There is a great difference between need and invitation. Many live always in need, declaring lack, worrying over absence, magnifying what is missing. This is like crying out for a guest but never opening the door. The cry is heard but the door is shut. Invitation, on the other hand, says, come in, I am ready. And because the door is open, the guest enters. So shift from the vibration of need to the vibration of welcome. Instead of saying, I need more money, say, I am ready for more money, I welcome it, I am grateful for it, I use it wisely, I bless it as it blesses me. Words are powerful, words are creative. What you declare with conviction becomes the form you live. There is also joy in invitation. Chasing is heavy, but inviting is light. Chasing wears you down, but inviting lifts you up. When you chase, money becomes a burden, a weight on your back. When you invite, money becomes a dance partner, moving with you in rhythm. Which do you prefer? To labor endlessly with no peace, or to move in harmony with the flow of life? The choice is always yours, and the choice begins in thought. Remember that to invite money is not selfish. Money is not only for you, it is for what you can do with it. When you have more, you can give more, create more, uplift more. Money in the hands of the wise becomes a tool for blessing. It builds, heals, nourishes, expands. To chase money selfishly is to grasp for yourself alone. To invite money in love is to open channels of blessing that extend beyond you. And this very spirit of generosity multiplies your supply, for what you send out returns. So let your relationship with money be like that of a trusted friend. Treat it with respect. Welcome it with warmth. Use it with purpose, release it with joy, and it will come back again, bringing more with it each time. No longer chase, for chasing pushes away. Instead, invite, for invitation draws near. Say to yourself each day, I do not chase money, I invite it, I welcome it, I prepare a place for it, I am a magnet for prosperity. Money comes to me in perfect ways at perfect times, through perfect channels. And watch as life begins to shift. Watch as unexpected opportunities appear. Watch as solutions come where there seem to be none. Watch as doors open, as blessings multiply, as the flow of money finds you with ease. You did not chase it, it came, because you invited it. This is the law, this is the truth, this is the way of abundance. So live no longer as the chaser, restless and weary. Live as the inviter, calm and assured. Set your mind, set your heart, set your life in harmony with wealth. Know that it belongs with you. Trust the unseen to become seen. And as you do, you will find that money is not something to run after, but something that gladly comes to dwell with you when you make it welcome. Your brain is a magnet. It draws unto itself whatever it is most charged with, whether thoughts of abundance or thoughts of lack, whether faith or fear, whether love or resentment. The silent images and impressions that you carry in your mind form a current of energy, and that current flows outward, touches the invisible substance of life, and returns to you multiplied. What you hold within, you will behold without. Many people believe that the world is a place of chance, where fortunes rise and fall by accident. They think money is won only by luck, by privilege, or by ruthless striving. But the deeper truth is this: the mind governs circumstance. The inner life of thought is the real architect of the outer world. You are not at the mercy of chance, you are at the mercy of your own thinking. When you realize that your brain is a magnet, you step into your rightful authority to attract and command the conditions that serve your highest good. If a magnet is charged with iron filings, it will draw to itself only what harmonizes with its nature. So too with your thoughts. When you dwell in fear, you draw to yourself conditions that confirm fear. When you dwell in anger, you attract occasions to be angered. But when you saturate your mind with faith, gratitude, and confidence, then the universe sends you opportunities that echo those vibrations. You cannot attract what is foreign to the atmosphere of your mind. This is not a punishment, nor a reward, it is law. Money is energy, just as thought is energy, and energy moves according to law. If your mind is charged with lack, with statements such as, I never have enough, or, it is hard to prosper, then your mental magnet is reversed. It repels the very wealth you seek. But if you train your brain to radiate prosperity, repeating within yourself, I am always provided for, I am always supplied, money comes to me easily and often, then your magnet is aligned with increase. You stop chasing money and begin drawing it, just as a magnet draws metal filings without strain, without pursuit. Think of the times in your life when you felt certain, joyful, at peace. Did not good things seem to arrive with ease? Opportunities appeared, doors opened, people extended their hands in kindness. That was the magnet of your mind in perfect alignment. And think of the times you felt desperate, doubtful, or afraid. Did not problems multiply in those seasons? It was not that the universe had turned against you. It was that your magnet was drawing circumstances to confirm the inner climate of fear. The work, then, is to train your brain, to polish and strengthen the magnet of thought, so it becomes a faithful servant of abundance rather than a careless attractor of lack. This is not done in a day nor with half-hearted attempts. Just as an athlete trains the body, so must you train the mind. Repetition, discipline, and devotion are required. Each day remind yourself, my brain is a magnet for good. My thoughts draw prosperity, opportunity, and joy. These words spoken with faith impress themselves upon the subconscious mind, which in turn sends forth currents of energy that shape your circumstances. Do not underestimate the power of a single thought. Thoughts are seeds, and seeds grow. A fleeting worry, if entertained, becomes a habit of anxiety. A moment of gratitude, if nurtured, becomes a stream of blessings. The brain does not judge which thought to magnify, it simply amplifies whatever is repeated most often. Train it, therefore, to repeat what serves you. Train it to repeat the truth of abundance. There are those who say, but I have thought of money many times, and it did not come. The error is that they thought of it with longing, with frustration, with the feeling of lack. They pictured money as something far off, something withheld, and the magnet of the brain obeyed that vibration, drawing more lack. True prosperity thinking is not yearning, it is knowing. It is the calm assurance that supply is yours by divine right, that channels of wealth are opening now, that nothing can be withheld from you when your mind is aligned with abundance. When a magnet is broken or weakened, it must be recharged. The same is true for the brain. Doubt, fear, and discouragement weaken its pull. Gratitude, affirmations, and faith recharge it. You recharge your mental magnet every time you speak words of prosperity, every time you visualize success, every time you choose to believe in possibility instead of limitation. Each act of faith adds strength to the pull of your mind. You must also be mindful of what you expose your magnet to. A magnet placed in the wrong field can lose its power. In the same way, your brain can lose its alignment if you constantly listen to voices of fear, surround yourself with complaints, or indulge in stories of failure. Guard the atmosphere of your mind. Protect it from influences that weaken your faith. Seek out company, books, and environments that lift your spirit and affirm your abundance. What surrounds you impresses itself upon you, and what impresses itself upon you multiplies through you. Let us take a practical example. Suppose you desire more money in your life. If you dwell on unpaid bills, on rising costs, on fear of the future, your magnet is charged with worry, and it will draw more situations that confirm worry. But if you hold the vision of your needs being met, if you give thanks for the money you do have, if you affirm daily, money flows to me freely, abundantly, and constantly, then your magnet is charged with supply, and opportunities begin to appear. Perhaps an unexpected check arrives, a new client comes, or a forgotten debt is repaid. The form does not matter. The law is that the magnet draws what it is charged with. Another example. Think of relationships. If your brain is charged with thoughts such as, no one respects me, people always leave me, love is hard to find, then you magnetize conditions that mirror that belief. But if you affirm, I am loved, I am respected, I am surrounded by kindness, then your magnet draws people who treat you with love and respect. The law of attraction is not limited to money, it governs every area of life. Your magnet is strengthened by imagination. The images you hold in your mind are blueprints for the universe to build upon. Picture yourself in prosperity. Imagine receiving the money you need, signing the contracts you desire, enjoying the freedom you seek. Do not picture it as someday, picture it as now. See yourself already living the life you desire, and the magnet of your brain will adjust itself to draw that reality closer. Your magnet is also strengthened by gratitude. Each time you give thanks for what you have, you charge your brain with the vibration of plenty. Gratitude says, I already live in abundance, and abundance rushes to confirm it. Complaining says, I live in lack, and lack rushes to confirm it. The magnet of your brain does not argue, it simply obeys the current it is given. Therefore, give it the current of thanksgiving, and you will always have more to give thanks for. There is no limit to what your brain can draw when it is rightly charged. The universe is not poor, nor stingy, nor reluctant to bless you. It is overflowing with supply, and it responds perfectly to the magnet of your thoughts. Train your brain to expect miracles, and miracles will come. Train it to expect struggle, and struggle will come. The choice is yours, moment by moment, thought by thought. Do not despise small beginnings. Even the slightest shift in thought begins to reorient the magnet of your brain. A small spark can ignite a great flame. If today you can replace one thought of lack with one thought of abundance, you have turned the magnet slightly toward prosperity. If you continue tomorrow, and the next day, the magnet grows stronger, the pull becomes greater, and soon the evidence appears in your life. Your brain is a magnet, but you are its master. You decide what it will draw. You decide what thoughts it will amplify. You decide what atmosphere it will create. Train it with love, with patience, with persistence, and it will become your most faithful servant. It will draw to you money, opportunity, health, love, and joy, not because you chased them, but because you radiated the vibration that could not help but attract them. Let this be your practice each morning. Before the noise of the world enters, take a few moments to align your magnet. Speak words of abundance. Today, prosperity flows to me with ease. My mind is charged with success. I attract wealth, joy, and opportunity. Hold the image of your desired life clearly, as though it were already here. Feel the gratitude of already possessing it. In that moment, your magnet is set. Throughout the day, guard it. Do not allow fear or doubt to weaken its pull. If they arise, replace them quickly with affirmations of faith. Each night, before you sleep, repeat words of gratitude. Thank the universe for the supply that has come and for the greater supply that is on its way. In this way, even in your sleep, your brain remains charged with abundance, and your subconscious continues to attract what your conscious mind has affirmed. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a magnet of circumstance. What appears in your life is the echo of what you have held in thought. This is not meant to condemn but to empower. If you have drawn lack, you can draw abundance. If you have attracted difficulty, you can attract ease. The magnet is always in your hand. The law is always on your side. Therefore, train your brain to be a magnet for good. Let it draw unto you every form of prosperity and joy. Let it radiate the confidence that life is for you, not against you. Let it rest in the certainty that money is abundant, supply is endless, and opportunity is ever unfolding. Your brain is a magnet. Make it a magnet of wealth, of success, of happiness, and watch as your world transforms into the very image of your highest thought. Fear creates shadows, faith creates light. This truth is as ancient as the universe itself, yet it is as fresh as the breath you are drawing in this very moment. When you look at your life and see obstacles, scarcity, or confusion, you are looking through the lens of fear. Fear distorts reality. It paints dark shapes where none exist, it whispers of dangers that never come to pass, and it convinces you to bow to limitations that have no true power over you. Fear is a shadow, it has no substance of its own. A shadow is cast only because something stands in the way of the light. And yet how often do people take shadows as reality, as if they were solid, immovable objects? They walk around them, they shrink before them, they allow them to govern their choices. But when you step closer, when you dare to investigate, you see that the shadow is nothing but the absence of light. It cannot bind you, it cannot block you, it cannot destroy you, it is illusion. Faith is light. And light dissolves shadows instantly. You do not fight a shadow. You shine a light, and it disappears. The moment you choose faith. Faith in your purpose, faith in the abundance of life, faith in the goodness of what awaits you, the shadows of fear melt away. Suddenly you see the path clearly, and what seemed dangerous or impossible reveals itself to be safe, even inviting. Think of how many times in your own life fear has whispered that you could not do something, that you could not ask for that opportunity, that you could not step into that new venture, that you could not trust yourself to move forward. And yet when you gathered courage, when you took the step anyway, the shadow dissolved. You discovered that fear was nothing but a lie. You discovered that your faith had more strength than any obstacle. Every person who desires to make more money, to create more prosperity, to open the doors to greater opportunities, must understand this. The shadows of fear are the greatest barriers to wealth. They are the inner walls that prevent outer success. People may speak of lack of education, lack of connections, lack of resources, but beneath all of those excuses is fear, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of unworthiness. And as long as fear is given a throne in the mind, abundance cannot enter. When fear rules, a person hesitates. They delay making decisions, they shrink from taking risks, they sabotage their own opportunities. But when faith rules, the mind expands. It sees possibilities everywhere. It acts with confidence. It attracts cooperation. Faith opens doors because faith believes they are already open. The wealth of this world does not belong to the timid. It belongs to those who walk by faith, who believe that unseen supply is ready to flow to them, who take inspired action because they trust the law of abundance. To train your brain for wealth is to train it to lean toward faith in every circumstance. When doubt says, there is not enough, faith answers, infinite supply is here and now. When fear says, I am not worthy, faith answers, I am a child of abundance, destined for prosperity. When worry says, this plan will fail, faith answers, everything I do prospers. The shadows of fear cannot withstand the fire of faith. Imagine walking into a dark room with a single candle. That one flame pushes back the darkness. You do not need to fight the darkness with your hands. You do not need to sweep it out with a broom. You simply light the flame, and the darkness vanishes. Your mind is the room. Your thoughts are the flame. Each thought of faith you choose to hold lights up your mind, until there is no place left for fear to dwell. The great wealth makers of history, the inventors, the builders, the visionaries, were not people who lived without challenge. They faced the same shadows of fear that you do, but they learned to stand in faith. They trained their brains to expect success, even when the world called it impossible. They said, I see the light. And because they believed, they walked forward until others could see it too. Fear has another trick. It dresses itself in reason. It says, be realistic, stay safe, don't risk too much, don't dream too big. It speaks with the voice of caution, but beneath the surface it is still the same shadow. Faith, on the other hand, may look unreasonable to those who live in fear. Faith dares to speak abundance in the midst of lack, to declare health in the face of sickness, to affirm wealth when the purse is empty. But history has shown again and again that those who dare to walk by faith are the ones who change their circumstances, their communities, and even the world. To train your brain in faith is to rehearse new thoughts until they become second nature. Each morning you may wake and say aloud, fear is a shadow, faith is my light. Today I walk in light. Each time a doubtful thought arises, you may answer it, not with struggle, but with truth. I do not believe in shadows, I believe in light. This practice reshapes the pathways of the mind, so that faith becomes the default, not the exception. And when faith is your default, wealth becomes your reality. Consider the shadow of fear that whispers, money is scarce. In the world, you may hear of economic downturns, of lack of jobs, of shrinking opportunities. But these are only shadows. Faith sees that the source of supply is infinite, that money is only one channel through which abundance flows, and that new channels can open at any time. Faith holds fast to the vision that, regardless of appearances, provision is certain, and as you hold that vision, opportunities rise up to meet you. Another shadow is the fear of failure. It tells you, do not try, for you may lose. But faith speaks another word. Every step I take teaches me, every attempt moves me forward, every so-called failure contains the seed of greater success. The one who walks by faith sees failure not as an ending but as a beginning, not as a loss but as a lesson, not as shame but as strength, and from that strength arises the courage to keep building, to keep learning, to keep prospering. Fear creates shadows in relationships as well. It says, if I ask I will be rejected, if I reach out, I will be mocked. And so many stay silent, never sharing their gifts, never inviting collaboration, never creating the partnerships that could multiply their wealth. But faith shines its light and says, if I ask, the right people will appear. If I reach out, doors will open. I am surrounded by allies, by friends, by divine connections. And so faith attracts cooperation, where fear only bred isolation. The secret of prosperity is simple, yet profound. What you believe, you become. Fear makes you small, faith makes you great. Fear makes you shrink back, faith makes you step forward. Fear makes you doubt your worth, faith makes you stand in your divine inheritance. You cannot serve both. You must choose, moment by moment, thought by thought, whether you will live in shadow or in light. When you choose faith consistently, life begins to change in ways so remarkable they almost appear miraculous. Unexpected money arrives. Not because you chased it, but because you created a mental atmosphere where it was welcome. New opportunities arise, not because you forced them, but because you walked forward with expectation. The shadows of fear no longer control your vision, so you begin to see the abundance that was waiting all along. And do not forget, faith is not only for money. Money is one expression of abundance, but faith creates light in every area of life. Faith brings healing to the body, peace to the mind, love to relationships, and fulfillment to your purpose. Faith is the light that reveals the truth that life is meant to be abundant, harmonious, and joyous. So whenever you feel fear creeping in, remember it is only a shadow. You do not need to wrestle with it. You only need to turn on the light. Affirm what is true. I am provided for. I am guided. I am prosperous. I am free. These words are not empty. They are keys that unlock the inner chambers of your mind and let the light of faith flood in. Every person has the choice each day to dwell in shadows or in light. Choose light. Choose faith. Train your brain to expect good, to believe in supply, to walk in confidence. As you do, you will see that the shadows of fear were never real, and the light of faith was always waiting for you to claim it. And when you live in that light, wealth comes naturally, not as a struggle, not as a chase, but as the overflow of a mind that has chosen to believe. For fear creates shadows, but faith creates light, and in that light, everything you desire is already shining. Inner wealth precedes outer wealth. This truth is not bound by time, nor by place, nor by circumstance. It is as constant as the rising of the sun and the turning of the seasons. When we begin to understand this law, we stop chasing shadows and start building substance. We stop grasping at outer forms, and instead cultivate the invisible riches within us that draw every form of good we could ever desire. What is inner wealth? It is the deep knowing that you are connected to an infinite source that cannot run dry. It is the steady confidence that life is for you, never against you. It is the ability to see opportunity in every challenge, and to hold faith when appearances would suggest lack. Inner wealth is the abundance of thought, feeling, and spirit that overflows into money, success, health, relationships, and joy. The invisible always gives birth to the visible, and your inner wealth is the seedbed of every form of prosperity you will ever know. Consider the person who scrambles after money, who is restless with fear of losing it, who believes every dollar is hard-earned and easily lost. Though that person may gain some measure of wealth for a time, it slips away like sand through their fingers. Why? Because the inner foundation was not secure. Fear, worry, and doubt cannot sustain abundance. What you carry within, you project without, and the outer world simply mirrors the quality of your inner state. If the mind is filled with worry, the world shows you more worry. If the heart is filled with scarcity, the world gives you reasons to feel poor. Now consider the one who holds fast to the idea that life is abundant, that supply is infinite, and that right action always brings right reward. This person is not anxious, not desperate, not grasping. Instead, they move forward with a calm assurance that opportunities will meet them, that doors will open, that provision will be there in the very moment they need it. They train their mind to see wealth in all things, wealth in ideas, wealth in relationships, wealth in opportunities, wealth in the sheer beauty of life. And because they are inwardly rich, outer riches come to them naturally. They do not chase money. It comes to them as a servant, drawn by the magnetism of their inner wealth. This principle has been proven again and again, in the lives of those who have risen from obscurity to abundance, From limitation to freedom. How many stories have you heard of those who began with nothing but faith, imagination, and determination, and who, by the unseen wealth of their spirit, drew to themselves success beyond measure? Their bank account was empty, but their inner account was overflowing. They spent from the treasury of belief, vision, and gratitude, and in due time, the outer wealth aligned itself to match the inner store. When you know that inner wealth precedes outer wealth, you stop being disturbed by appearances. You may look at your bank account today and see a small number. You may look at your circumstances and feel them to be restrictive, but you no longer allow appearances to dictate your reality. You remind yourself that what you see is only the shadow, not the source. The true source is within, and it is unlimited. Appearances shift, but truth remains. And the truth is, when you cultivate inner abundance, outer abundance must follow. What does it mean, practically, to build inner wealth? It means you practice thoughts of plenty. You train your imagination to see yourself successful, provided for, and free. You affirm daily that supply is flowing to you now. You give thanks for what you already have, no matter how small, and by your gratitude, you multiply it. You refuse to speak words of lack or fear, for you know the tongue shapes your destiny. You walk through each day with the expectancy that good is on its way, that money will come through the right channels, and that every need will be met in divine order. There is a law at work in the universe as within, so without. This is not poetry, it is law. Just as surely as gravity pulls the apple to the ground, the law of correspondence pulls your inner state into outer form. You cannot hold a consciousness of poverty and expect to live in wealth. You cannot rehearse thoughts of failure and expect success. But when you inwardly align with plenty, when you inwardly align with confidence, when you inwardly align with joy, then life mirrors these qualities in the form of money, opportunities, and relationships. Some people try to reverse this order. They seek to gain outer wealth first, believing that once they have enough money, then they will feel secure, then they will feel happy, then they will feel rich inside. But this is a trap. Outer wealth cannot create inner wealth. Without the inner foundation, the outer form collapses. That is why so many who gain riches without cultivating inner abundance find themselves restless, dissatisfied, or fearful of losing it all. Money alone cannot give you peace. Success alone cannot give you confidence. Only inner wealth creates lasting security, because it cannot be taken from you. Inner wealth is your consciousness of supply. It is your faith in the unseen. It is your ability to stand in the face of seeming lack and say, I know that abundance is mine. I know that money comes to me in perfect ways. I know that my good is on the way. This is the treasure that moth and rust cannot corrupt. This is the fortune that no thief can steal. Once you have it, you are truly rich, no matter what the world looks like in the moment. And soon enough, the world must rearrange itself to match the inner truth you carry. When you train your brain to wealth consciousness, you become a magnet for opportunities. Ideas flow to you, people are drawn to you, doors open that once seemed locked. You take right actions without strain, for your inner guidance leads you. You find yourself in the right place at the right time. What others call luck is simply the law of inner wealth operating through you. You need not struggle. You need only to align inwardly, and the outer will follow. Let us take an example. Imagine two individuals starting a business. The first is filled with fear. What if I fail? What if nobody buys? What if I lose everything? Their brain is trained to expect defeat, and so defeat shows itself. They miss opportunities, overlook resources, repel customers with their energy of desperation. The second individual begins with inner wealth. They say, this business is a channel for supply. The right people will be drawn to it. Everything I need will come at the right time. Their brain is trained to expect success, and so success shows itself. They notice opportunities, attract helpers, and move with calm confidence that inspires others. The outer result is the fruit of the inner seed. This principle applies not only to money but to every area of life. Inner love precedes outer love. Inner peace precedes outer harmony. Inner confidence precedes outer recognition. But since money is a symbol of exchange and energy in this world, it responds quickly to the state of mind. That is why when you establish inner wealth, money becomes a natural byproduct. It is important to remember that wealth is not about hoarding or clinging. True wealth is circulation. The more you give, the more you receive. When you are inwardly rich, you are not afraid to give generously, whether that giving is financial, emotional, or spiritual. You know the law of circulation will return it multiplied, and indeed it always does. The miser, who clings tightly to every coin out of fear, finds themselves surrounded by lack. The generous soul, who gives from inner wealth, finds themselves continually supplied. Why? Because their inner state is one of abundance, and the outer mirrors it. You may ask, how do I train my brain to inner wealth when I have bills to pay, when I see debt, when I feel the pressure of financial lack? The answer is by turning your attention from appearances to truth. You do not deny that the bills exist, but you deny them the power to disturb your inner wealth. You remind yourself, This is temporary. This is only an appearance. I am connected to infinite supply. Money is on its way to me now. You take inspired action as opportunities present themselves, but always from a place of faith, not fear. This shift may not happen overnight. Just as a muscle is built through repeated exercise, inner wealth is built through repeated thought, affirmation, and belief. Each day you train your brain to expect abundance. Each day you refuse to rehearse lack. Each day you practice gratitude for the good you already have. And as surely as the dawn follows the night, the outer world begins to shift. The beautiful thing is this: once you truly grasp that inner wealth precedes outer wealth, you are free. You no longer fear economic downturns, job losses, or shifting markets. You know that the true source is within, and that source is inexhaustible. You can lose money, but you cannot lose the consciousness that created it. And with that consciousness, you can create it again and again. This realization is the greatest security you will ever have. So today, I urge you, stop chasing money. Stop worrying about appearances. Instead, begin cultivating your inner wealth. Train your brain to expect abundance. Fill your heart with gratitude. Speak words of plenty. See yourself as already provided for. Trust that life is on your side. When you do this, money will come, opportunities will flow, and success will arrive. Not because you forced it, but because you became inwardly rich and the outer world had no choice but to mirror it. Remember always, inner wealth precedes outer wealth. Build the inner treasure, and the outer will follow. Establish the invisible, and the visible will form. This is the law, and the law never fails. Prosperity is a law. It is not an accident, nor a matter of chance, nor a privilege given only to a few. Just as the law of gravity holds all things to the earth, just as the sun rises without fail each morning, prosperity too is a principle that works with certainty. When you understand this truth, you are no longer a beggar at the gates of life. You become a rightful heir to the kingdom of abundance that has always been prepared for you. Look around you at the universe. Everywhere you see signs of plenty. The earth does not ration its beauty. The oceans are not stingy with their waves. The trees do not withhold their leaves. Nature expresses prosperity without apology, without hesitation, and without fear of running out. If the soil produces one harvest, it can produce another and another. The air you breathe is abundant. The stars in the sky are countless. Prosperity is written into the very fabric of creation. Why then do people believe themselves cut off from this law? It is because they have trained their minds in lack. They have accepted thoughts of limitation as truth, and so they live inside a prison that exists only in their own imagination. The truth is simple: when your thoughts align with the law of prosperity, prosperity appears. When your thoughts deny that law, you feel lack. Yet the law itself never changes. It is always working. Imagine electricity. It is everywhere, available, powerful. But until you learn to flip the switch or connect the wire, you sit in darkness. Prosperity is the same. It is all around you, waiting for you to become a conductor for its flow. The moment you change your inner belief, you flip the switch and the current of supply lights up your life. There are those who think prosperity is only about money. But money is merely one channel. Prosperity expresses itself as opportunity, as health, as right relationships, as peace of mind, as joy that cannot be stolen. To see prosperity only as dollars and coins is like standing in a garden of fruit and recognizing only the apples, blind to the pears, peaches, and grapes. True prosperity is wholeness in every area of life. And yet, let us not shy away from money. For money is a symbol of circulation, a tool for exchange, and a servant for good. To fear money or to resent it is to close the door on one of prosperity's natural forms. Some people say, "I do not care for money." But at the same time, they worry about bills, long for freedom, and wish for comfort. That contradiction binds them in struggle. Release the resentment. See money for what it is: a willing messenger that comes and goes in response to your mental picture. Love it as you would love a faithful helper, and it will love you in return. Now, how do you align yourself with this law? You begin with thought. Every day you sow seeds in the garden of your mind. Words are seeds. Feelings are seeds. Pictures in your imagination are seeds. If you sow thoughts of lack, there is not enough, I cannot afford this, life is hard, then you reap a harvest of struggle. If you sow thoughts of abundance, everything I need comes to me in perfect time. Supply flows easily. Life supports me. Then you reap a harvest of plenty. The law is impartial. Just as the soil does not care whether you plant roses or weeds, the law of prosperity does not question the seeds of your thought. It simply brings forth after its kind. If you desire roses, stop planting weeds. If you desire abundance, stop planting fear. Some people believe they must work harder and harder to earn prosperity, yet they remain exhausted and empty-handed. They are like someone rowing a boat against the current, straining with all their might, while just behind them is a sail waiting to catch the wind. Work has its place, yes, but right thought is the wind in the sail. When your thought is aligned with prosperity, the right work flows naturally, and the right rewards appear without struggle. Prosperity responds not to desperation but to faith. To plead, to beg, to say, I want, is to announce lack. But to affirm, to declare, to say I receive, I accept, I expect, this is to announce abundance. Life mirrors your inner state. If you approach prosperity as a stranger, it will treat you as a stranger. But if you welcome it as a trusted friend, it will enter your home and stay. Remember this: poverty is not a virtue. Struggle is not holiness. Lack is not destiny. These are illusions created by fear and passed down as false teachings. The truth is that prosperity is your birthright. The moment you claim it, not with arrogance but with humble certainty, you begin to live in the rhythm of the law. You may ask, what if I have debts? What if my wallet is empty? What if my circumstances are dark? Then I tell you, do not let appearances rule you. Circumstances are shadows cast by old thoughts. Begin today to plant new seeds. Begin today to speak a new word. Begin today to see with the inner eye what you wish to see tomorrow in the outer world. The unseen always precedes the seen. Say to yourself each morning, I am a magnet for prosperity. Supply flows to me in perfect ways. I attract. I do not beg, I receive. Say it not as a mere recital, but with the feeling of truth. For when your heart and your mind agree, the law of prosperity moves swiftly. Gratitude is another key to this law. When you give thanks for what you already have, however small, you open the door for more. Gratitude multiplies blessings. Complaining multiplies lack. Choose your focus wisely. If you wake each day saying, nothing works out for me, the law responds by giving you more of the same. But if you wake and say, this is a day of increase, this is a day of supply, this is a day of prosperity, the law cannot help but answer. There are also those who fear envy or criticism if they prosper. They hide their success or sabotage their own progress because they believe it will make others unhappy. But the truth is, your prosperity does not diminish another's. There is no shortage in the law of abundance. One candle lighting another does not lose its own flame. In fact, when you prosper, you become an example and an encouragement, showing others that they too can prosper. Your light makes it easier for others to shine. Generosity is the proof of prosperity. When you know the law, you do not cling in fear. You give freely, knowing that what you give returns multiplied. A river that does not flow becomes stagnant. Money that is hoarded in fear becomes heavy and lifeless. But money that circulates with joy brings freshness, opportunity, and increase. Give with gladness, and you open the channels of return. There will be moments when doubt whispers. There will be days when appearances contradict your faith. But remember, the law of prosperity is eternal. The farmer does not dig up the seed each morning to check if it is growing. He trusts the unseen process. So must you trust. Affirm your prosperity even in the face of lack. Declare supply even when the purse seems empty. For faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Think of the stories of people who rose from nothing to great wealth, who created empires from humble beginnings. They did not change the law, they aligned with it. They trained their minds to expect more, and so more came. If it worked for them, it can work for you. The law is no respecter of persons. It answers belief, not background. It responds to thought, not circumstance. Let us rise, then, into the consciousness of prosperity. Let us refuse to be bound by fear, by lack, by false ideas of limitation. Let us walk boldly in the truth that prosperity is not a privilege but a principle. It is not uncertain, but certain. It is not fleeting but eternal. And as we live this truth, we do more than make money. We make a life rich with peace, rich with love, rich with opportunity, rich with joy. For prosperity is a law, and when you live in harmony with it, you live in harmony with the very rhythm of the universe. So I say to you today, claim your inheritance. Speak your prosperity. Expect your supply. Train your brain to see abundance, and abundance will see you. Do not wait, do not doubt, do not delay. Prosperity is a law, and it is already working for you. When you train your brain, you are not simply exercising thought, you are shaping destiny. The mind is the most powerful instrument given to us, more potent than any tool forged by human hands, more vast than the richest treasure hidden in the earth. Everything you see around you, every building, invention, business, or fortune, was once a thought in someone's mind. The invisible precedes the visible. The inner vision becomes the outer reality. To make more money, to attract prosperity, to live in abundance, you must first tend the garden of thought, for there the seeds of wealth are planted. Money itself is not the root, but the fruit. It is the outward sign of inward order, the reflection of a consciousness that has trained itself to expect and receive. To some, money is a burden, a worry, a master that drives them into restlessness and fear. But to those who understand the law of mind, money is a servant, an obedient messenger responding to the vibration of belief. When you hold fast to thoughts of prosperity, when you affirm supply, when you expect the best with unwavering faith, the unseen substance of the universe rushes to clothe your belief in material form. Why is it that some seem forever struggling, chasing after money, while others attract it almost without effort? The difference lies not in luck, nor in chance, nor in circumstance. It lies in training. A brain filled with fear, doubt, or resentment cannot call forth abundance, for it is like soil choked with weeds. But a brain trained in expectancy, gratitude, and certainty becomes rich soil where wealth grows naturally. Each morning, before you face the world, you must give the world within its instruction. Speak words of power, for words are carriers of thought, and thought is the architect of reality. Say to yourself, infinite supply flows to me now. Every step I take is ordered. Every action prospers. The money that belongs to me by divine right appears at the perfect time, through the perfect channel. Do not mumble these words half-heartedly, but declare them with conviction, as though they are already true. For in the unseen, they are true, and the unseen always seeks to become seen. Consider this when you plant a seed. You do not dig it up daily to check if it is sprouting. You water it, you give it light, and you trust the invisible process of growth. The same is true with wealth. Once you have spoken your word, once you have trained your brain to hold the thought of abundance, do not disturb it with worry or doubt. Let the law of mind work as surely as the law of growth. Your supply is already on its way. Do not chase money, for chasing implies lack, and lack repels what you seek. Instead, invite it. Stand in the assurance that the riches of the universe are flowing toward you even now. Let your brain become a magnet of expectancy, drawing opportunity, favor, and prosperity into your life. Imagine a river. If you stand upstream, fearful and grasping, the water rushes past you. But if you stand still and extend your hand in confidence, the water fills your palm. Money comes to those who invite, not to those who clutch. Every thought you hold sends out a signal, like waves on the sea. Gratitude, confidence, and faith send out waves of attraction that return to you multiplied. Resentment, envy, or fear send out waves that return in kind, bringing more lack, more struggle, more disappointment. This is the law as within, so without. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. If you desire to change your financial picture, do not first seek change in your job, your boss, or the economy. Seek change in your thoughts. For once the mind is trained, the circumstances must follow. Understand this: fear is the shadow of faith misdirected. When you fear not having enough, you are placing faith in lack. When you worry about bills, you are affirming the power of debt. When you complain about not having money, you are commanding the universe to confirm your complaint. But when you shift your thought, when you affirm abundance and believe in supply, you are placing faith where it belongs, in the infinite source that never fails. Poverty is but a shadow, cast by the light of abundance obscured by fear. Remove the fear and the light floods in. Do not despise small beginnings. A coin, when held in gratitude, attracts a dollar. A dollar, when blessed, attracts 10. A 10, when respected, attracts hundreds. Whatever sum comes to you, large or small, treat it as the seed of greater. Speak over it: this money multiplies. This is the evidence of my ever-growing supply. As you bless what you have, you prepare your brain to receive more. The ungrateful mind shuts the door to riches, but the grateful mind opens it wide. There is a great misconception that money is evil, or that desiring wealth is unspiritual. This is a false belief born of fear. Money is energy, nothing more. In the hands of the wise, it feeds the hungry, shelters the homeless, funds the dream, and multiplies good works. To despise money is to despise the very instrument by which good can be done. Desire it freely, without shame, for your desire is proof that abundance is meant for you. The universe holds no grudges against wealth. It only waits for you to align with it. Think of the farmer. He does not curse the soil because it will not grow fruit overnight. He does not resent the sun for rising too slowly. He plants, he waters, he tends, and he waits with certainty, for he knows the harvest will come. Likewise, you must plant thoughts of wealth, water them with gratitude, tend them with expectancy, and wait in faith. The harvest is as sure as the sunrise. Train your brain to live in that assurance, and money will flow to you as surely as the harvest flows to the farmer. Now understand also that wealth is not hoarded, it is circulated. The miser, who clings tightly to his coin, trains his brain in fear, and fear dams the flow. But the one who spends joyfully, who gives freely, who blesses money as it leaves, trains the brain in abundance, and abundance flows back multiplied. Every bill paid is a declaration: I am able to meet every demand with ease. Every gift given is a seed planted in the soil of return. Train your brain to release money joyfully, and it will return to you pressed down, shaken together, and running over. When you face obstacles, when money seems delayed, do not let your brain slip back into fear. See every challenge as a test of faith, every delay as a preparation for something greater. Say within: what is mine by divine right cannot be withheld. What belongs to me in spirit must appear in form. The channels may change, but the supply cannot fail. With this assurance, you train your brain to see through appearances into truth. Appearances change, truth endures. The world is full of stories of men and women who rose from nothing to great fortune, not because of inheritance or chance, but because they trained their minds to think differently. Where others saw impossibility, they saw opportunity. Where others saw lack, they saw supply. Where others gave in to despair, they held fast to faith. Their brains, disciplined in thought, became magnets for money, success, and opportunity. You too can do this, for the law is universal and no respecter of persons. If you are in debt, do not think of yourself as poor. Train your brain to see yourself as free. Speak to the debt, not in fear but in authority. You are already paid. You dissolve now. I am rich in supply and every obligation is met in divine order. Hold this thought steadfastly, and watch as unexpected channels open, unexpected money flows, and debts are cancelled. The outer world must obey the inner decree. If you feel stuck in a job, do not curse it. Train your brain to see it as the channel through which money flows while greater channels prepare to open. Say, this position prospers me. Greater opportunities are making their way to me now. In time, the new door will swing wide, but only if you remain in expectancy and not in resentment. A brain filled with complaint cannot open the way to promotion. But a brain filled with gratitude calls forth new doors with ease. Let us not forget the power of imagination. The images you hold in mind are blueprints for the future. If you would make more money, see yourself already living in abundance. Imagine the home, the bank account, the freedom, the ease. Let your brain taste the feeling of wealth, until it becomes as real inwardly as it will soon be outwardly. Imagination is not fantasy, it is creation. Train your brain to dwell on images of plenty, and those images must take form. And remember, money is only one expression of wealth. To be rich is to live in health, in love, in joy, in peace of mind. The same brain that calls forth money can also call forth healing, harmony, and happiness. When your brain is trained in abundance, it will produce riches in every area of life. Do not limit prosperity to the bank account. Let it flood your relationships, your body, your spirit, your entire existence. True riches overflow in every direction, and money is but one stream of the great river. So today, make the choice to train your brain. Choose to release fear, to uproot doubt, to cast away resentment. Choose to fill your thought with prosperity, to speak words of abundance, to imagine pictures of success. Do this daily, faithfully, unwaveringly, until wealth becomes your second nature. And as you do, you will not only make more money, you will remake your life, from lack to plenty, from struggle to ease, from shadow to light. For the law is certain as within, so without. Train the brain and the world will follow. And when the riches flow, you will know they came not by chance, nor by accident, but by the power of your own thought aligned with the infinite.